meeting. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Queensbury Town Board meeting. It is May 3rd, 2021, and the time is 7:05 p.m. And before we begin the regular agenda items, if you'll join Councilperson Anthony Medevere in saying the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I thank Tony. So the first item we have to deal with is an applicant wishing to extend time for a system that needs to be worked on as a result of our septic inspection program. So I need a resolution to move into the Queensbury Board of Health, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson Perone. All those in favor of moving into the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. We're in the Board of Health. First and only item, please, Caroline.
Resolution granting Nicole and Joseph Pickering an extension of time to complete wastewater system alterations on property located at 3 Palmer Drive.
All right, thank you. Nicole and Joseph Pickering on 3 Palmer Drive, as a result of the septic inspection upon property transfer, have a property transfer, but because of the inclement weather, everything got backed up. They did put their $2,000 escrow down, and they need until, they were supposed to have it done by April 30th. They need till May 31st. If this board approves it, they'll have till May 31st to get the new system in. Any questions? Any thoughts? Motion to approve resolution granting Nicole and Joseph Pickering an extension of time to complete wastewater system alterations on property located at 3 Palmer Drive.
Motion.
Motion made
Second.
by Councilman McNulty, seconded by Councilperson Harrison Freer. Roll call vote on this, please. Caroline?
Councilpersons Medevere?
Yes.
Freer?
Yes.
Barone?
Yes.
McNulty?
Yes.
Stroud?
Yes. All right, good luck, Mr. and Mrs. Pickering. That's it for the Board of Health. Do I hear a motion to move out of the Queensbury Board of Health?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Barone, was it?
It
Seconded
was,
by Councilperson Medevere. And all those in favor of moving out of the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
aye.
Any nays? All right, it's unanimous. We're now out of the Queensbury Board of Health. On to a public hearing. Please introduce the public hearing for us, Caroline.
This is a public hearing on a proposed local law of 2021 amending the Queensbury Town Code relating to dog control.
Finally,
You're right.
Caroline played a significant role in the development of this amended form. And, you know, you put a law to practice and you can see where it works well and where it doesn't work well. And you're always trying to make it better. That's the fluid situation in which we live. So this is one case where dog control needed to be updated so it is a more effective dog control law. It's not so much different than before, but how it is different than before is that now we can take dog control matters that are serious in nature to court and have the courts help deal with it. Is that a fair summary, Caroline? And she says yes. All right, so there's a public hearing on this tonight. And before I open the public hearing, are there any town board thoughts or anything that you, on this matter? Kathy Cloutier of Upstate, SPCA of Upstate New York, absolute professional and does an absolutely great job at doing dog control for the town. She had input into this, and so I think it's a good product. But now I'll open it up to a public hearing. Anybody in the public like to speak to our 2021 amending of the code relating to dog control? If so, there are multiple ways that you can do that. You can call the town, area code 518-761-8225. You can raise a blue hand if you're attending on Zoom. If you're present tonight in person at the meeting, you can indicate by raising your hand. No one present is raising their hand. None of the attendees to the meeting have indicated a desire to speak to this by showing a blue hand. I don't see, or Tim, do you see any Q&A? You kind of keep track of that.
No, I don't.
All right. And no call-ins at this time.
Attendees are only 6.
Any other thoughts?
We need, this will fit in with all our existing signage, right, that we have at the parks? There's no reason to change any, maintain control, so there's no real expense, it's just,
There's no change to that.
Good
Okay.
question, you're thinking, but, and the answer's no.
Good.
Nothing in here changes that. All right, anything else, guys? Anything else, board? Anything else? Okay, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion on behalf of the board to approve the resolution enacting local law 2021 of 2021, amending town code relating to dog control.
motion.
Moved by Councilperson McNulty, seconded by Councilperson Medevere. Roll call vote on this, please, Caroline.
Councilpersons Freer,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
Medevere.
Yes.
Unanimously passes. Thank you. All right, next we go to resolutions. We have 18 of them before us tonight. One is we're going to pull 4.1, so actually we only have 17. And the reason why we're pulling 4.1, Bob Hafner reviewed the proposed solid waste and recycling disposal agreement that the county had with us. Bob had several questions, and the county attorney is attempting to get answers to those. So until we get answers to those questions, we should probably not vote on something until we're sure it is good for the town. So we're going to pull 4.1. All right, Sue.
Resolution authorizing agreement between the town of Queensbury and the Chapman Museum.
All right, the Chapman Museum has asked for $9,000 in occupancy tax to put forward to increase visitations and enhance visitors' experience at the Chapman Museum. And so actually the Glens Falls, Queensbury Chapman Museum. It represents the town and city of what used to be one municipal entity, the city being a village and the town being the prevailing municipality government until 1908 when the city became a city. So Tim Widener, who's the executive director, does a lot of good things. And the vision of the Chapman Museum, founded in 1965, is to elevate the popularity of our local history and inspire a greater sense of community among those who live in our area. And they did an outstanding job last year with portraying the history of Queensbury. But now they want to market the exhibit called Nothing Stays the Same, Then and Now Photos of Glens Falls, Queensbury, and some other things. You know, they deal with the Rialto, the Paramount, and so forth, good stuff. And so they need some money from the town occupancy tax to be able to do that. Now, 39%, there was a study done of tourism in Warren County, 39% of the respondents said that one of the reasons why they visit our area is our cultural activities, visiting museum being among them, as very important, and as to why they locate here, or why they visit here, I should say, along with their families. So, all right, That's 4.2. 4.3, Caroline, please.
Resolution authorizing agreement between Town of Queensbury and Glens Falls Area Youth Center.
All right, Glens Falls Area Youth Center is really Glens Falls Queensbury Area Youth Center because there is as many Queensbury young people who are staying out of trouble and getting guidance from the leadership here as there are Glens Falls people. So they're asking, this is a community fund, this is not occupancy tax, it's what we have a community fund for. And they're asking for $12,000 for the services they provide our youth. And it's a great organization, we've always supported them, and so we'll see tonight if we continue to do so. 4.4,
Resolution affirming consistency of the Feeney project with the Top of the World Plan Unit development.
all right, well, it's a surprise to some that Top of the World is PUD, and I guess it is. And there's a structure there near the clubhouse, and those of you that golf or go up there for dinner or go up there just because of the beautiful sights that you can see of Lake George and the mountains from up there have probably seen this building. It has been used residentially for as long as we know. Originally, it was designed as a clubhouse, but it's being used residentially. They want to expand it. So we had Stu Baker, our senior planner, say, well, listen, if they want to make it residential and expand it, is it consistent with the original PUD? And he gave us a whole lengthy thing and said basically the bottom line was, yeah. So he did his research, very thorough, and he outlines his research. I'm not going to read it to you. And his findings, and he has several of them, but basically this is pretty consistent with the use that it has historically had. So this resolution just says that the town board agrees, if they vote for that way, with the fact that it's consistent with the Top of the World PUD. 4.5, please, Caroline.
Resolution authorizing agreement for expenditure of highway monies.
All right, this is Highway Law, Section 284, and Harrison, Councilman Freer has highlighted this very often, and here's the product. So we are going to spend, and Highway Superintendent Dave Toole is present with us tonight, spend about $557,000 and change for doing work and repairs on 210 miles of town highway. And the highways being looked at: Jenkinsville Road, Fairway Court, Susan Place, Alice Drive, Yorkshire Drive, Ash Drive, Bonner Drive, Cormus Drive, Potter Road, Brayton Road, Honeysuckle Lane, Bay Park Way, and Lake Park, and Blackberry Drive. So all those are going to get some kind of attention.
Yes, I know, it doesn't go that
This is
far.
Highway Law Section 284,
It
which
doesn't go that far.
the highway superintendent puts forward to the town his road repair plan.
John, do we have others scheduled for, through Peckham? Are we using them this year?
Depends on who's on the bid.
Well, I mean, I don't mean Peckham, but I mean, are we
We're
bidding
gonna
out
contract out most of that work, right, Dave?
Yes,
Is that what your question?
this or
Yeah.
other?
possibly other, depends on where the number falls for what amount we can get done. This is just an outline course of what we'd like to get done.
Okay,
I don't know if it'll cover the money that we have for all of this.
right.
I'm gonna find that out.
So this is your focus, and then should there be any more money, we could potentially,
Yes, we can always amend this
okay,
at a later date.
all right.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, 4.6, Caroline, please.
Resolution endorsing consolidation agreement and setting public hearing concerning proposed consolidation of 5 town sanitary sewer districts.
All right. This is Chris Harrington, water superintendent, wastewater director, said that if we can consolidate our 5 sanitary sewer districts, there might be benefits. And there are pros and cons. It isn't all good. Some rates will rise, some rates will go lower. we're not voting on this tonight. All we're voting on is that we like the idea. It's what they call endorsing consolidation agreement. If the town board endorses the consolidation agreement, it will then go to a public hearing, and then maybe the board favors the idea and passes it. But, you know, we're gonna go through quite a process. We're gonna post this, it's already on the town website. We're gonna post this, it will be available for viewing at the town clerk's office. We will also be making announcements of such for successive weeks in the Post-Star. So, we currently have 5 septic districts. The Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District, which is Aviation Road, Quaker Road, Upper Glen Street, Bay Road, Ridge Road, Meadowbrook Road, other streets. We have, number 2, the Route 9 Sewer District. And that basically is the commercial, mostly commercial area along Route 9, from Weeks Road all the way up to 149. Then we have West Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District, and that extends from the city of Glens Falls at Western and Thomas Streets to just past exit 18 McCorinth Road. And then we have the 5th Technical Park Sewer District, and this is off of Dix Avenue and a portion of Luzerne Road. All right, so there are 5 sewer districts. The town wastewater director has studied whether...
You left out BAC, John.
7 total, we're only combining 5.
Pershing National Food.
Pershing, Ashley, Coolidge.
They're not going to be there.
Yeah, which I don't see here. Yeah, all right, well, thank you for bringing that up. Pershing, Ashley, Coolidge Septic District is just what it says, along Ashley, Pershing, in that area. All right, so there are 5 districts. The town wastewater director has studied whether it would be to the mutual benefit and in the best interest of the customers each served to combine 5 sanitary sewer districts into 1 sewer district, proposed to be named Greater Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District, and has determined that such a combination would, 1, create greater operating efficiency, 2, a more equitable distribution of financial responsibility, 3, provide better service to the public served by each district, and 4, generate cost savings by avoiding duplication in administrative services, and 5, in addition, the risk of isolated, unpredictable failures and costs will be spread over the entire consolidated district, expecting to result in a more financially stable district, and will also allow the consolidated district to reliably finance its operating and capital costs. So again, this resolution is to endorse the concept, then we'll have a public hearing, and that public hearing will be on June 21st. And then, you know, as a result of the public hearing, there may be questions that need to be answered. We may not act on it on June 21st, but the public hearing will be on June 21st, if the resolution is passed by the town board tonight. 4.7.
Resolution setting public hearings on emergency ambulance service agreements.
Okay. This is a 5% increase for all 3 squads, so that Bay Ridge, and this represents the 10% increase over last year. This is for the contract. This is to set a public hearing for May 17th for the 3 squads and their contracts. We're proposing a 5% increase, which would be for Bay Ridge, $548,295. For West, it would be $986,224. And for North, it would be $358,356. So, some of the notes. On page 3, some changes. So, on page 3, we are proposing, as part of their contractual arrangements, to allow an extra $1 per hour. So the new $1 per hour would be $16 per hour for staffers with basic life support, that's BLS. And $17.50 for staffers with advanced EMT training, and $20 an hour for those with advanced life support training. Okay, last year was $1 less. If it passes, it'll be $1 more for this year. The other thing that we added was section E on page 4. The emergency squad can, in its discretion, provide health insurance and paid time off to its full-time staff, providing that the total cost to the emergency squad does not exceed the funding for paid staff detailed in paragraph 3C above. In addition, the emergency squad shall comply with and include the cost of sick leave to an extent that at least meets New York State requirements, see Labor Law, section 196-B, within the funding for paid staff, whether full-time or part-time, detailed in paragraph 3C above. So this allows provision of benefits to paid staff, and also new is on page 12, the indemnification clause. The emergency squad shall provide all insurance coverage required in the performance of this agreement, and the town shall be in no respect liable for any act or omission of the emergency squad if members, employees, servants, or agents. The emergency squad shall defend, indemnify, and hold harmless the town and its officers and employees from claims, notices of claims, suits, actions, damages, costs of every kind of nature, including but not limited to reasonable attorney fees arising out of activities funded or otherwise carried out pursuant to the terms of this agreement. They are an independent company. That indemnification paragraph basically is saying. All right, so the public hearings, if this resolution passes, on the 3 squads, we have North Queensbury, West Glens Falls, and Bay Ridge, will be on May 17th. 4.8,
Resolution approving repurchase of cemetery lot in Pineview Cemetery from Arthur Tucker, power of attorney for Lucille Tucker.
all right, we do this all the time. People want to sell the lot back to us, we buy it. Lucille Tucker has a lot in the Abenaki plot, lot number 2-D, and the Town Cemetery Commission has agreed to buy back such lot for $233.33 if the town board approves that. 4.9,
Resolution authorizing engagement of CTA Mail Associates for preparation of New York State Department of Transportation Bridge New York Grant Funding Application, the Zurn Road Culvert Project.
okay, this is another Clendon Brook culvert. Dave, who is here, Dave Duell, Highway Superintendent, who's here, clearly remembers the failure that we experienced in, I forget which hurricane that led to a tropical storm that made it up to us. Was it Irene? Or one or the other?
July 4th, when,
Well, whatever it was a few years back, completely washed out, overwhelmed the property, the culvert, washed out Clendon Brook Road. All right, well, that cost us about $59,000 to repair. Then we had another failure on Dixon. That was around $180,000 to repair. And we also have one that Chasing Companies is working on Thunderbird Drive. But this is for CT Mail to write a grant to see, they looked at it and they said it's a good prospect for some grant money to be able to replace the culvert. Clendon Brook goes under Luzerne Road. And to do that grant work would be $3,800. 410,
Resolution authorizing engagement of Invasive Solutions Dive Company LLC for invasive plant harvesting in connection with Lake Sunnyside Aquatic Vegetation Management Program.
thank you, Caroline. Yeah, Lake Sunnyside has a aquatic plant growth control district, like Glenlake does. They have an advisory group. They're called PALS, and they are the advisory group to this board. And so they have a management plan for their milfoil and other invasive plants that are taking over Lake Sunnyside, and they have for years. And they wish to do it mechanically, which means diver-assisted suction harvesting for invasive plants. And there's a lot of advocates for that. That is no chemicals, and it's an excellent way of controlling that in some situations like Lake Sunnyside. And I gotta thank the Protective Association of Lake Sunnyside. The improvements that I've seen with Lake Sunnyside have been tremendous over the years, and the quality of that water has improved tremendously. So I want to give them a slap on the back for doing such a good job. So they're offering, what they would like the town to do is to, we put out an RFP and we only got one bid from Invasive Solutions Dive Company. And so what they're offering to do is put in 120 field hours per week and do some hand harvesting, mechanical harvesting, for the amount of $8,000 per one harvest week per crew, or the total amount of $16,000 for 2 harvest weeks, for up to 4 harvest weeks, to a total amount of $32,000. And that's what this is awarding, contingent upon them submitting a valid insurance form. Okay, 411.
Resolution authorizing payment of fine to New York State Department of Labor, Public Employee Safety and Health Bureau, PESH, Commissioner of Labor.
All right. What happened here is the Highway Department uses grates, kind of a V-shaped, upside down V-shaped grate that was a shallow V that went on top of the trucks. The purpose of the grate was to avoid large chunks of the combination of salt and sand. There was an injury, an employee had injured themselves on one of these. We agreed that we wouldn't touch them, but the instructions were not clear. Dave Dool, the Superintendent of Highway, is here if he needs to clarify. Some of the workers, according to Dave, and he can speak for himself, he's present, took it upon themselves to handle some of the grates. And another person was injured, fortunately not seriously. But we were told by the Department of Labor not to touch the grates. So they did touch the grates. There was a fine of $1,260, and this is a resolution recognizing the payment of such. We think that we have a case, but by the time we get down to lawyers' fees and everything else, it probably wouldn't be financially frugal. So this is a resolution to authorize payment of $1,260 to PESH, Commissioner of Labor, in satisfaction of the final billing. 412,
Resolution to amend 2020 and 2021 town budgets.
just shifting it where it wasn't needed to where it is needed, nothing surprising. 413,
Resolution authorizing donation of sick time to an employee in Building and Grounds Department.
this is, shows you how wonderful the town employees are here at the town of Queensbury. And they are a wonderful group. I mean, people in Queensbury are very happy with the work that is done by our various departments. Here is a case where we have a building and grounds, what we call facilities manager, has advised that the spouse of one of his employees in the building and grounds department has been diagnosed with a serious health issue. And the employee is expected to exhaust all their paid leave available to him or her, including all sick leave, to care for the employee's seriously ill spouse. And whereas certain fellow employees have expressed the desire to donate a portion of their accumulated sick time to the employee to assist him and her during this time of family illness. And whereas the employee is represented by the Civil Service Employees Association, Local 1000, which has joined in the request that employees be permitted to donate sick leave time to this employee. And the resolution says the town board wishes to allow such donation of sick leave time if approved tonight. 414,
Resolution authorizing adoption of May 2021 Town of Queensbury COVID-19 Pandemic Response Plan.
All right, the town is becoming more open to the public as the COVID seems to be abated. We're cautiously allowing some additional rules that will allow more public use of our facility. And so this is the May plan, and we have to do it month to month because so much changes from month to month. And that's resolution 414, just to approve the May 2021 Town of Queensbury COVID-19 Pandemic Response Plan. 415,
Resolution approving audited bills warrant May 4th, 2021.
okay, with a payment date of May 4th, 2021 totaling $923,340.05. 416,
Resolution authorizing additional transfer station attendant position to replace vacant laborer position at town transfer station.
Rich Paris, who is the department manager for solid waste and transfer stations and so forth, needs another helper. And there was a helper that left some time ago. He never replaced that position, and he went to me and he says, listen, you think the town board will supply, I really need another person full-time to be a transfer station attendant. And I said, I think the board would be willing to consider that. So that's 416. And again, it's not a new position. It's replacing a position that's already open. 417,
Resolution authorizing cost increase of purchase and construction of storage building at Pineview Cemetery by Blue Scope Construction, Inc.
all right, so I think it was 7 years ago, Connie Getter, who is the department manager, superintendent, if you will, of cemeteries in the town of Queensbury, and there are 11 cemeteries in the town of Queensbury. People think we have just Pineview. That's not the case. It's quite a job. Plus, we have a crematory. All right, so the buildings that have been housing our equipment have been used to, provide a work area to work on our equipment. We're in woefully poor shape. And you're going back decades, and they were very poor buildings to begin with. This is to put up a very nice building for the purposes of equipment storage and for working on the equipment. This building is very similar to the one I'm going to talk about for the town highway department. A long time ago, they've come to me and they said, we need a new building. All right, well, 7 years isn't a long time, right, Connie? Who's present? Not a long time. All right, so we looked everywhere, every possible way, and to meet state law and everything else. And we did approve this, but in the meantime, between us and taking a look at the highway building, which is very similar to this one, prices of materials are skyrocketing, so they went up $10,558. This is to approve the increase, and if I sign the paperwork, we'll get no more increases. They'll have to build the buildings for what they state they will. So this building for the cemetery is $509,146. And it is up to, and this is, again, both the highway and the cemetery, we're going through the same process. So to repeat myself in the cemetery, but to introduce you to the highway department, which is on Big Bay Road, and we'll make that correction in a minute. The New York State Legislature adopted legislation allowing any political subdivision in New York State to piggyback off an existing county state bid, and therefore, due to the agreeable and advantageous terms represented by Blue Scope Construction, in this instance, the town of Queensbury wishes to piggyback with Sourcewell for the purchase and installation of rough order magnitude ROM storage building as set forth in Blue Scope Construction's letter and proposal dated April 23rd, 2021. All right, so the purchasing of this is the best process, the least expensive process that we could find to get these buildings done. And we said if we like the process for the cemetery, then the highway, which has this, we're talking Big Bay Road. the highway has this trailer. It almost makes you sick when you walk in it. What year does that trailer back up to?
1991.
1991. All right. This is to give the highway, you know, the highway department is here, but they also have a branch located off of Big Bay Road where they work on equipment, they store equipment, and they have sand and salt there, and they have a staff there. So our front end loaders, which is like, you know, $250,000 piece of equipment, sits outside. And that should set inside out of the weather, so it'll be operable immediately when needed, and it will not be deteriorated because it's exposure to the elements and so forth. But Dave's here if he wants to speak to this later. A lot of good reasons why this building is so much needed for the highway department on Big Bay Road. But while I'm here, so the cemetery building I did, Bay Road I just explained. The Bay Road building for the highway is $534,060. And again, we got to make the changes in this. It's not Big Boom. Everyone gets Big Boom and Big Bay mixed up. In this case, it was a mix-up. So it's not Big Boom. So in the introduction resolution, which Caroline hasn't read yet, I went a little ahead.
Okay, I can do that now if you'd like.
Why don't you go ahead and read 418 and put in the correction for it.
Okay. Resolution authorizing purchase and construction of highway building on Big Bay Road of Blue Scope Construction, Inc., and establishment of highway building on Big Bay Road, Capital Project Fund number 238.
All right, so you will also change Big Boom, Big Bay in the first paragraph, second line. And in the 1, 2, 3.
There's actually two.
Whereas, right?
There's two in the first paragraph, Supervisor.
Yeah, the first paragraph.
There's two places where that says Big Boom.
And there's 2 places.
The fifth whereas.
And the 5th whereas, there is just 1 place, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And the first resolved.
And the first resolve, Boom to Bay, as in reads Big Bay Road.
I believe that's it.
All right. So is the town board amenable to that correction in this resolution? All right. All right, so those are the 18 resolutions. Before I open it up to the public, any thoughts, exchanges, other on the 17 resolutions before us tonight? All right, then I'll go to...
Comment from council?
Yeah, comment from council. Go ahead, council.
I'm going to suggest adding one additional whereas paragraph in resolution 4.6 to reflect the existence of the applicability of that resolution to the Pershing Ashley Coolidge Sewer District. If anybody wants, I can read my proposed whereas.
Yeah, please do so.
It would be a new 6th whereas paragraph, and I would simply say whereas the Pershing Ashley Coolidge Sewer District was established to serve the area including Pershing Road, Ashley Place, and Coolidge Avenue. It might be Coolidge Avenue Extension, does anybody know?
I think it's Pershing.
Or say,
Yeah.
I think it's,
I
think
lived,
it's just Coolidge.
I lived on it, but I don't know where Coolidge Avenue
or say,
Extension
leave it
started.
Pershing Road, Ashley Place, and Coolidge Avenue.
All right, so is the town board amenable to amending 4.6 in the manner just described by
That's
council?
fine. Yeah.
And town clerk, Caroline, you've got that amendment included in the official record?
yes.
John, I would like to make a comment about 4-5, the Section 284 agreement. I just thank Dave for taking that on and moving forward so that we can be compliant with New York State laws and so that we can collectively look forward to a little bit more long-range planning on road repair, because I think it's the right thing to do. And again, I appreciate the efforts to sort of wade through that process, because it's not without its, but it will give the town board, you know, a little bit better buy-in, a little bit better top cover for how we're moving ahead with road repair, so thank you.
Okay.
John, I got
Yes, go
some
ahead,
comments. On 4.7, the EMS public hearing,
Yeah.
I didn't see in there any, we talked about establishing some metrics, specifically having X number of crews on call, specifying when crews would be available from each station. Can we still, through the public hearing, make additions to this?
This is, yeah, that conversation came up, Tim. This is for 421. We're already late. 422 is where we need to sit down and have some more of the more serious ones. I figured there are some changes to the flows, plus, and well, let's get through 2021. And then 2022, there's some issues that we've got to sit down and discuss seriously. That would be one of them.
Okay, and the EMS position would be part of that discussion as well?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And then on 417, the cemetery building, I walked, kind of gave you a tour of the facility, walked the ground. They are prepared to put in that building. They've done all the work, and if any townsperson wanted to see what they were working in now, it should show you. It's time for a change, and I strongly support that, to include Dave and Big Bay Road as well. I've got pictures here of that trailer. That needs to go.
Very good, thank you. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these have needed attention. Tommy Van Ness, remember him? Highway superintendent? He's the one that talked to me about needing a new building on Big Bay Road. And he took me over and showed me, and there was no doubt about it. And so we've been working since then. If you think that this just came up and, you know, no. We've been working very hard to meet all New York State laws and get these buildings up and done in accord with what the cemetery and highway wants. It doesn't meet all their wish list items, but it'll get them by. There's some additions and things we can do on our own. Highway department has agreed to do its own excavating work and paving and whatever needs to be done, stormwater work over on Big Bay Road, excuse me, God. And Dave Duell and his team are also going to help Connie with this very same things, the grading, the paving, and bringing in some of the stormwater collection pebbles for the cemetery. So we're saving money there by having the town do some of this work, and I want to thank Dave for being agreeable to that. All right, I see no blue hands. I don't see any Q&A, right, Tim?
Yeah, no chat either.
People want to call in or watching YouTube, it's 518-761-8225, and this part of the meeting is just on the 17 resolutions before the town board tonight. Anybody present?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, well, I'll close that opportunity for the public to speak then in the 17 resolutions before the town board tonight. Are there any resolutions that any member of the town board would like to have a poll or an independent roll call? Seeing none. May I have a motion to approve resolutions 4.2 to 4.18, please?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman McNulty, seconded by Councilperson Medevere. Roll call vote on those 17 resolutions, please.
Councilpersons Brown,
Yes.
McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yeah.
Medevere.
Yes.
Frere.
Yes.
All right, to pass. Any correspondence, Caroline?
I do not have any.
Okay. Privilege of the floor. This is an opportunity for anybody present, or anybody through Zoom, or anybody through YouTube, to talk about any town issue they wish with the town board. And there are hands raised. Michelle Harding. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm calling to ask if there's been any further discussion, comment, or decision made about the special town meeting that was held on Friday, April 30th.
Yes, we've talked a lot, as we do every day, about this very, very important issue. It's important to us, it's important to you. We have not come to any conclusions. What we need to do is have our technical people also talk with the DEC technical people. And we want to take a look at where do we go to do the site characterization. Do we go with DEC alone? Do we go ourselves alone? Or do we go with some kind of combination of parallel studies going on? Anyways, we don't have enough information to make those decisions right now. So we're trying to, we're going to be discussing with DEC this week, likely, to get more information on this matter to make this decision. So we've had those conversations. Okay, Michelle?
Yeah, do you have a tentative timeline as to how long these conversations might take?
Well, this is all new to us, Michelle.
Not holding you to anything.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to this week get some of the technical people together and then share with the board the plus and minuses of our various options. And we will be open and transparent and discuss those options with the folks who live in that Jenkinsville area and get their opinions on this matter as we go, okay?
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome, thank you. All right, anybody else? All right, no phone calls? 518-761-8225. What? All right. Hearing no further interest on town issues, Jenkinsville is a big, important one. All right, let's go on to town board discussions. Tony?
I was going to talk about Jenkinsville a little bit, but I'm not going to talk about it right now because we still have, so much more to talk about. But just so everybody knows, we, like John just said, it's all we talk about. So, we love you guys, we care about you guys, and we are going to do everything for you to make this right. We'll figure it out. And, this town board, as I've said a million times over, I've never seen a group of people come together more than this town board over this issue that we all take very seriously. So we'll get there. Promises kept. I wanted to congratulate the South Glens Falls Bulldogs for hosting a very successful marathon dance. The unusual part about that, there's two unusual things about that. It was taken out of South Glens Falls for the first time ever and brought to Warren County. Apparently, somebody reached out to the county, and I'm going to see our friend, the administrator, Ryan, and asked if it could be done. And apparently they managed to work with the Great Escape to successfully host the marathon dance. It was outdoors. My wife was there. It was very cold, but the kids did a phenomenal job. And they need to be applauded because they work so hard. Especially this year, it was much more difficult than in any other year. And one more really interesting point about that if you recall a year ago, the marathon dance was like the last time we had a group of people together that substantial. And this marathon dance was the first time since the pandemic started that we had a group of people together like that. That was pretty cool. So kudos to them. They did a phenomenal job. Ended at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at the latest. Like I said, it was outdoors, so, but they, you know, kudos to all of them. Great job, so congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Harrison?
So, I have a few things. The first is short-term rentals. Been in contact with an organization that helps municipalities with short-term rentals. Been in contact with the town of Lake George, who has a rule and actually are using these people and very happy with them. Also in contact with the city of Glens Falls, who doesn't have any kind of short-term rental law, but they are in the process of developing one. So getting that feedback, and we have a meeting with this company, Tim and I, on Wednesday. If you're around, I know you're busy, so, but getting smarter on that and trying to make sure that we stay on top of it and don't get in trouble or get behind. More to come. I'm also soliciting a couple of citizen volunteers who will join us on an advisory board. We'd like to get some neighbors who have issues with short-term rentals. We have one volunteer in that category already. I'd like to get a couple of short-term rental owners to get their views so that we can take a look at the laws that are out there in the region and our law and see if we need to make any tweaks or look at staying as consistent as feasible. So lots going on there, and it's all over the country and all over the world, but countrywide. The city of Atlanta just passed a short-term rental ordinance that was endorsed by Airbnb. So looking at, you know, the whole spectrum, but focusing on the Adirondacks in New York in terms of, you know, how our law stands up, and Dave Hatton's been involved, which is all good. We did a BOA, broad brownfield opportunity assessment walk over on the east side of town, looking at the Sibagagi and some of the options over there. So Chazen and Stu and myself. So I got a much better picture of, you know, what we're all talking about and some of the options. So we'll be following up with that shortly. Next thing in that process is to get some community input, and the Chazen staff is working on setting that up. And my additional congrats to the South High Marathon group. I think it's a great thing for the whole, and it was nice to be able to host them in Queensbury in a facility like that.
I just have to say, though, don't get used to it.
Well, yeah,
I think they really want it back in South Glens Falls, and they have absolutely every right. But I'm just glad that somebody, and whoever was able to put it together was able to put it together. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
So.
And that's enough for me.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you, Harrison. George?
What I was going to say is, before, I don't know how many months ago it is now that it was brought to our attention about the issues around Jenkinsville, I thought one of the top topics of this year was getting our arms around EMS services. You know, that's been on the radar for at least 2 or 3 years, maybe longer. And I think you said it earlier, we're going to get these contracts done for this year, focused to do a better job for the contracts in 2022. I think in our last meeting, and I've been jumping in on these meetings with you, there was a comment, a good one, which was, let's start this planning early. Let's start this in May or June, and here we are in May. So hopefully we can maybe set a schedule for the rest of this year to sit down with the EMS folks and try to bang that out. I think that there's a lot of people who think that every time they hit 911 that they're going to get an ambulance there, but there's a lot that goes into providing those services and these folks that volunteer their time for that. So I think we need to support them with a good contract come next year.
Okay, good. Anything else, George?
That's it.
Thank you. Tim?
Just a couple of things. First off, as the community continues to open from our COVID cold and starts warming up, I'd like to take some time to highlight some activities in Fourth Ward. Not a lot of activities each time, but at least one today. And tonight I want to give a shout out to the Adirondack Trust and Company. They opened up a new facility at 76 Main Street. Lynette Matt is the manager. Amy Lyles is the assistant manager. They brought 8 employees with them. They have a full-service business consumer banking. They're very excited, very excited about their drive-through capability, which they didn't have before. So I'd like to welcome them to the community as we welcome any and other new businesses to come on that corridor as well. So that's all I got.
Dave, thanks. Well, you're learning. We're working on a lot right now, and there is so much to do. So much to do. This town is lively, dynamic, full of energy, growing economically, assessment-wise, and everything. We got to talk with the state about making a $1 Million Mile better, formalizing that signalized pedestrian-friendly intersection with Round Pond Road, the new access drive that has yet to be put in from the Greatest Cape and Route 9, rerouting a Weeks Road, so it comes out opposite a signalized intersection that Sweet Road currently enjoys. And so those are just 3 Route 9 projects, not to mention I could go on and on. It never stops. If you think we're going to get quiet, I'll tell you after 7.5 years here, it does not get quiet in Queensbury, which I suppose is a good thing, but it makes a lot of work for our town board, and I think the public appreciates that. But then, and when I have my folder of what I usually have up to my desk.
Oh, you're kidding.
No one move.
I'll go get it for you, John.
I'm not letting go.
I was going to bring up the leaf and brush pickup, Dave. I forgot the wards and the weeks, but it's the month of May. Get your stuff out there. Sometimes if we have the time and we have the men and we don't have something else come up, we will whip around one last time to try and make up a pickup, if we can. I'm not promising that. And I don't know if you know the wards and what the pickup days are offhand without that information page.
Not right in front of me. We just finished up Ward 3 for the last 2 weeks. We're in Ward 4 for this week, and then 2, and then 1 in the following weeks.
All right. So basically the month of May. And again, put all your leaves, grass clippings, what have you, in biodegradable bags. If you've got branches no thicker than 4 inches in diameter and no longer than 8 foot, and have them by the side of the road, not in the road, but by the side of the road.
John,
Yeah.
I always take good notes. So Ward 3 was back on, starting Monday, April 19th. Ward 4 was May 3rd. Ward 2 was May 10th. And Ward 4 was May 17th.
Ward 1.
There you go.
And then, of course,
Ward
the
1 was
follow-up.
Mason. You said Ward 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, 1.
Ward 4 is now.
Yeah.
Trucks came by today. Look.
Okay, all right, thank you, George. What? Connie?
Before you adjourn, I didn't realize that you weren't coming to the visitors here before going to the board report. I'd like to report to the board before you adjourn, if you don't mind.
Oh, yes, all right.
Whenever you're ready,
Yeah, well, let me finish up, and then you will be the grand.
thank you.
Okay. The only other thing that I've got to mention, that since I don't have my folder, is the Memorial Day Parade. Geez, it was 21 years ago. And it wasn't easy to do. I got the city of Glens Falls and Queensbury to melt together, to get the veterans involved in having one grand parade. And we all got together, and we started this, I think it was 2001 for our first parade, so this year would be what, our 21st year, 22nd year, we count 2001. And last year we had to cancel. It's a lot of work to organize a parade. It's a lot of work. I don't think I really need to say that. I think people that view it know, appreciate the work. But more importantly, is what the parade and the remembrance ceremony following the parade stand for. It's a day when we should do this every day, but it's a day when we, in a grand way, recognize those that gave the ultimate sacrifice for the benefit of the rest of us, so the freedoms we enjoy and the quality of life we enjoy. It's a grand statement to that appreciation to those who gave their lives for the rest of us. That's what Memorial Day is all about. All right, so we've been organizing this. We, committee, I think Kim's interested in joining the committee, but Tim Benner, Carl Fosco, Joan Aldis, Amy Collins, myself. Tim has come up with a lot of good ideas. Harrison has a military background, might be good to see him on this in the future. So we're planning. Yeah, I know we got COVID. The world is getting a little bit better. So here's the deal. We plan it. Like I said, there's a lot involved in planning. We got the local schools involved, veterans organizations, you know, all the other Elks, Rotary, Kiwanis, a lot of people involved in this parade. Queensbury School is providing the music and the remembrance ceremony. I want to thank Jim Sorelli. All right, so if we can have the parade on May 31st, a Monday, last Monday of May, it's great. Took a lot of planning. If it comes to fruition, wonderful. But the deal is this. We can plan a parade, and I can cancel it the day before. I don't want to, but I can. I can cancel it the week before. I don't want to. I want to hold the parade and the remembrance ceremony. But you can't tell me a week before May 31st you'd like to have a parade and remembrance ceremony. I can't do that. We can't do that. The committee can't do that. So I know people are warning us, and I know Mayor Hall is very conservative in his approach. We did put together a COVID plan. I passed it on to Ryan Moore, the administrator and the representative in the Capital District for developing COVID plans. I have more details on the Memorial Day parade for you at our next meeting. We have picked grand marshals, we got music selection, we've done a lot of work. All right, so here's crossing our fingers, knock on wood, or whatever you want to do, and hoping that we have the Memorial Day parade and remembrance ceremony on May 31st. In any event, if we have to put together a very limited remembrance ceremony, we're absolutely going to do that. But I'd like to see the full grand statement made for those who've given their lives for the rest of us. All right. Connie?
I said yes on the parade.
Everyone says yes.
Well, the governor just released some new rules today that will help us with that.
Good.
Yeah, expanded limits, and so May 19th, there's a lot of stuff that was good.
Well,
Yeah, but his parade guidance was maintain Mayor Hall is concerned that the guidance, he can't police it based on the guidance that was given out. And I didn't see that today. Hopefully there's some addressing parades, but I didn't, because I read through that looking for this. But then I appreciate though that the remembrance ceremony will occur, one check or another.
Yeah, Carl Fosco, you know, he does the color guard. And I mentioned Carl Fosco in the committee, well, he's in the committee. He's going to be doing the color guard. he and Amy worked at getting the grand marshals. There's a lot of work. Tim Fenner does a lot of work, Joan Aldis does a lot of work, Amy, you know, the committee. It's a small committee. They do a lot of work. All right, well, we're trying to do it for good reasons. Connie Getter says to have it, so that means something. All right, Connie, I know you have more to say than just that.
As you know, I'm Connie Getter, Superintendent of Cemeteries, and I'd like to bring a couple of issues attention to the board in reference to the cemetery and what's going on there. First of all, I'd like to compliment my staff on what they've already done getting prepared for the building. These guys went in there like bulls, and it's sometimes good to have bulls in china cabinets because it worked. And they were way ahead of the game. I put them in for 3 weeks, and they were done with all that in a 2-week span with the help of the highway department, helped us remove the trees, and that without added expense, and allowed us some help with the removal of the concrete floors that were in those old buildings. Second of all, I would like somehow to meet with the entire board to give the direction that I have for the cemetery with the hopes of your support or your ideas with the cemetery. I know that you are all busy with a very serious deal up in Jenkinsville. I understand that. But we either look at growing money, you know, unfortunately, spending money makes money. We have a lot of projects that we have going for these cemeteries. We have to do some big-time work on our monuments that are down. You know, we talk about the veterans, a lot of their monuments are down in Mount Herman, in Sunnyside, and all that. But these are all things that are very costly. And I need to know the direction in which you want to go with that. Cleaning of monuments, these are families of the deceased of monuments that their families are no longer alive to take care of it. This is also an expense. I've been talking to the people. I have some volunteers. I'm working on with that to get a hold of the town attorney in reference to getting some guidance on that with insurance and everything. With projects that have to go on with the cemetery along with the building, which is now opening another piece to sell lots, which is one of the things that we do. I just need some direction and some financial attention as to what we're going to be able to and willing to do with this. And because of the time that it takes to do these things, before I get into them full bore, I'd like to make sure that I somewhat have your support, and so if something comes up array in that situation. I could go on with a list of them. I don't want to take up your time. Please accuse me.
May 24th, would you like to come and share your thoughts with us on May 24th?
Is that your workshop? Is it, if I can get longer than 15 minutes, I'll gladly do it.
Well, right now, we have interview candidates for the Zoning Board of Appeals alternate position. We have a couple of interests from doctors to be health officers. And I think we'll put zoning issues to bed here for a month, and we'll allow the rest of the space for you.
You want me at the end or the beginning?
So we'll put you.
Put me at the end, because I came in here running from golf tonight. Oh. And my score was horrible because I was worried about being here at 7 o'clock.
All right, well, let's put you at 7:15, 7:30, and you can have as much time as you want.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you,
Have that on
guys.
the record.
All right.
What'd you say?
We have that on the record.
I won't take that long.
All right, anything else for the good of the order? Nothing else? All right, well, thank you, Caroline Barber, Town Clerk. Thank you, Town Council Mark Shackner. Thank you, Peter Page, Chief Productions for YouTube TV. Thank you, Joe Barlow, Josie Jackson from Look TV. Thank you, all the audience. Thank you, Dave, always there. All right, how about a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Brown, seconded by Councilperson McNulty. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.